Greetings, 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 everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another show, Chat City with P. Ross. I am your host, P. Ross, and I am delighted, excited to have in the studio with me today actor extraordinaire Juan Isler and filmmaker Syid Wright. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing great.
All right.
Good. Appreciate you having us.
All right. I mean, the talent is booming in this room and busting wide open today because I got these gentlemen in here with me. All right. Juan Isler, we're going to start with you. Now, I attended Winston-Salem State University in the late 80s. And I was exposed to this young man, the great things he was doing on campus. Me coming from a small town, growing up in a small town, and going to Winston-Salem State University, which is an HBCU, a historically black college and university in the city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, much larger than my hometown. I mean, like I said, I was just seeing great and amazing things, and I just happened to be blessed to be on a campus with some very talented people. And to call out some of those names, we were there with Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, I'm sure you know who that is if you're in tune with the sports world. He's a well-known sportscaster. We had Maria Howell. Maria Howell played in the movie The Color Purple. And there's also another familiar name that was there on the campus with us, and that was the lovely Miss Chanita Morris. She's also known as the comedian Chocolate. All right, so these are some great talents that were there on that campus, and I'm going to include Mr. Juan Isler's name in that group of great people. All right? So, Juan, let me tell you what I remember about you some 30-something years ago. We're not going to go.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so I remember, and you tell me if this was you. I believe it was you. I think it was the Mr. Ram pageant. Does that sound familiar so far? Mm-hmm. Okay, for those of you that don't know, the Mr. Ram pageant on the campus of Winston-Salem State University was your opportunity to compete with other students to be king of the campus, all right, around homecoming time. And everyone did these great, breathtaking performances. And if I remember correctly, Juan, you shut down the end of a show coming on stage with a sports car, I believe in a tuxedo, leaning and chilling on the hood of the car.
Yep.
Once the curtains opened up. Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. Oh,
Okay.
you,
I took it back, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You took it way back.
Well, let me tell you something. I knew at that point in time, Juan, that you were going to do something great later on in life. So here we are. Got you as actor now. And you're from Kinston, North Carolina,
Yep.
where you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
What moment did you discover your talents?
Wow. Very, very young, and that was my my singing ability.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother sung in the church choir, but I was an usher. We didn't have a children's choir.
Okay.
But she would have me sometimes get up and sing some songs, because I was 6 or 7, so I was a strong alto then.
Uh-huh.
And she'd have me lead some songs I really didn't know. I had no formal training at that time, so I knew I could do it. And when I was 5, I didn't get a little red wagon like the other kids. I got a stereo system.
Okay.
And so stereo system with an 8-track player on it.
All right, 8-track.
So I'm dating myself there. But yeah, so that was kind of when I knew that was there. But you talked about the actor. I never really did anything besides act a fool, which I was very good at. But I decided about 8 or 9 years ago that I would give theater a try.
Okay.
And it's been successful so far. So.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Now, what kind of singer would you classify yourself as? I know you said you was an alto. Is that right?
No,
But
that was when I was 6.
when you were 6.
Ain't no alto notes coming out now.
All right.
I don't have I don't necessarily have a classification. I'm more of a theater singer. there's a difference between a theater singer, a church singer, and a street singer. Theater singers have a fuller tone, and nothing wrong with any of them, but they have a fuller tone, and they, in most cases, I hope I'm not getting myself in trouble here, they follow notes on a printed page. And street singers are great with runs, and I am not the best with a whole lot of runs and stuff, but my degree is in music, so my concentration was in voice. So I'm kind of good with the printed page of music. I'm good with choral music and things of that nature. I've played the lead in Porgy and Bess and stuff, so that is a little bit leaning a little bit more towards the operatic type of singing. Okay. So, yeah.
All right. Now, you said you just got into acting a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I know when we're children, we like to pretend, at least I did, I could write a whole play as a child or whatever up in my mind, or with my other friends directing them on what characters they were going to be.
Right.
At what moment in time did you discover that you are an actor?
Again, eight years ago. 8+ years ago.
Yeah. Tell us. How did you discover, or when did you decide you was going to become do something?
It kind of was decided for me. So my one of my nephews, his mom is I belong to their church, and so he's I call him my nephew. He's not by blood, but he's my nephew, and he was doing a play, and he wanted me to be in it, and so he wanted me there. I went and I auditioned, and I got it. I didn't even think I was going to get the part, and that was at Raleigh Little Theater, and that's where it started. And lady by the name of Mimi Cowens, who lives here in Raleigh, she told me that there was a place for me in this area in theater, and I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, it was Raleigh Little Theater. You don't get paid as an actor, so I was like, okay, this is nice. This reminds me of choir from back in the day. And, I'm going to do this, and then that's going to be the end of it. And within 2 years, I was being sought after for different productions at different theaters. And so it's been that way since.
Wow, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's real good. Okay, so now, before you got into theater, you also had a little experience with being a DJ.
Oh, woo, woo. So, wow. You did a little research, didn't you? You ain't supposed to do all that.
Tell us about that side.
So, I think it's kind of funny because I always say when one of my entertainment experiences ends, that, okay, well, I guess I'm done with entertainment, and then something else comes along. Mm-hmm. So I kind of thought I was done, and I auditioned to be a DJ at a nightclub in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I got it, now this was back in the mid-'90s, is because I could mix with CDs. Okay. And so that was a big thing back then. And I got the gig, and then it ended up turning into, the club had two sides. Let's just be truthful. One side was a white side, one side was a black side. And when I first got there, I was just only supposed to be playing oldies. Okay. And black people started coming, and they were like, what you doing? This was like 97. And so I started playing R&B and hip hop. And I stayed there for 12 years. I left because I actually had been living in Raleigh for 4 years, and I was going back and forth every week.
Oh, wow.
And that was like, okay, this is enough of this. So I stopped doing that. Mm-hmm. And again, I thought I was kind of through, because I was working at what is now Spectrum News. Mm-hmm. I was a television technical director. Mm-hmm. And I thought I was done. And then, like I said, I just stumbled upon acting. So I kind of stayed in entertainment all my life. But I DJed for 12 years in a nightclub. I'm good. I don't want to go back. Everybody's like, you still DJ? No, I'm done.
Until you done.
Juan, what was the name of that nightclub? Let's see if I, because I lived in Winston-Salem.
Club
8 years.
Odyssey. It was
I
Club
remember
Odyssey.
Club Odyssey. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody at some point went to Club Odyssey.
Yeah,
And I was there.
Okay.
Was there. Look, while smoking was still legal, and I think the part I hated the most. Well, I shouldn't say hated. It's a very harsh word. The part I dislike the most is, most of the time when people go to the club, they can leave when they want to leave. I was there till 4 a.m. Every Friday and Saturday. I was like, yeah, no, this ain't
me.
Right, this ain't cutting it.
And why was that? Was it packing up equipment or?
No. I mean, the club didn't close till 3:30.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I was there. It wasn't no 2 a.m. time to take up alcohol. The club closed. No, this one stayed open another hour and a half. So,
Okay.
So.
All right. Now, you were a technical director with Spectrum News back in 2004. Now, that's dealing with equipment. Is that correct?
No, I
okay.
was the person inside the control booth running the show. When the show was on air, I was the person punching the board and switching cameras and doing that stuff.
All right. Now, how did you like that position?
I enjoyed that, but I did not enjoy the hours because that was a 4-day-a-week job, 3 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. And I remember there was one afternoon, I got off at 3. I was so tired. I went home, fell on the bed. I woke up at 6 o'clock and thought it was 6 o'clock the next morning and just jumped up, went into work and just sat there. I was like, I'm in trouble. I'm just going, and there was somebody else directing, and I didn't pay any attention at first. And then when I looked up, I was like, wait, this is the night crew. This ain't the morning crew. And they all looked and was like, why are you here? And I just got up and just went on back home. I was like, yeah, this needs to end. So it ain't that the main NBC, ABC, CBS thing. It ain't that glamorous. So, so that had to end. Now,
you are known as a man of many hats, that's worn many hats in this area of work. Let's talk about your ability to multitask. Juan, you've been known to be on stage as an actor, a technician, and a director. I'm going to house applaud you on that, first of all.
Thank you.
Now, tell us how you are able to do this and how you got to do it.
So I was an actor first as far as theater goes, and I did that for about 4 years. And I was in a production, and the person who was the sound designer was brand new, and she was having some issues with the program that you use in theater called QLab. And I mean, it's just a program with WAV files on it. So, and we had gone over this one scene about 10 or 11 times because of her. She couldn't get this train sound to fade like the director wanted it to. I had enough. I went to her. I was like, show me what you're doing. And she showed it to me, and I did it. And then I went back and we did the scene one more time, and it was done. The artistic director came to me and said, you know how to do this? And I looked him right in his face and said, yeah. Had no clue. And so I was like, okay. I was like, that's the end of that. His very next show, he said, I need you to be the sound designer. And I was like, what? And so I went home and got on YouTube and learned QLab and started doing sound and did that ever since. And it's when you say director, and I just told him, I was like, I'm waiting to start doing that. But yeah, I guess I have kind of done that, especially when we were in the pandemic and a lot of stuff was being done on Facebook and on Zoom and stuff, a lot of plays and stuff, and I was in charge and directed some of those. So yeah, I guess you're right there. But as far as live stuff goes, I haven't really directed anything there yet.
Okay. Well, this all sounds exciting to me. So yeah, this is good. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross. I am your host, P. Ross. I am glad to have in the building with me the very talented actor extraordinaire, Juan Isler. And later on, we're going to be talking to Syid Wright, a filmmaker here in North Carolina.
That's what I'm waiting for. I don't know why you talking to that first person for. I want to hear from the second person.
Yeah, now...
Hey, we all have a role to play in this game, you know what I mean? We all important. The sound and the technical side is more important than those who are in front of the camera. Y'all make us look good.
I definitely agree with that, and it's funny that you say that because P. Rawson, we ain't trying to take nothing from you.
That's okay. You're fine.
I definitely agree with that because when I was just acting or whatever, it was it was some gas money, but when I started doing sound design, I was like, oh, this is some good extra money besides this is a nice part-time gig. And I try to tell actors all the time, I'm like, yeah, it's nice to be on stage because people see you and you get that recognition, and then after the show they come hug you and shake your hand and all this stuff. I'm like, but if you're trying to get paid, you go out there and shake some hands. Let me do this sound design.
Yeah. I didn't want to cut in. The guy told me I went to the film festival. He said, listen, everybody looking for the main actors. I look at the credits of the people that's behind the camera, and I try to latch on. I'll see one. I'll do my research. I'll connect with him. He said, then you in.
Exactly.
I'm good about that too. I like to sit down at the end of the movie when everybody's getting up. I'm still there watching credits. I think that's important, just as important. But going back to Juan, you've done over 50 plays. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
That is impressive, sir. 50 plays. I'm going to tell you something. I was really trying to get to see you in The Color Purple. That's a play that I have longed to see, have not been able to see it just yet. And I was really trying to get to your production then because I saw it advertised on Facebook, and I knew that you were going to be in it. And I was like, oh, man, I really want to see him in that. So,
yeah, and then COVID changed all of that.
So let me ask you this. I mentioned earlier Maria Howell, who played in The Color Purple, and she was known for that famous scene of singing in the church choir somewhere in the middle or towards the end of the movie. I believe God is trying to tell you something. Do you know Maria?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to make a pact to meet her.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I
so do not know her personally.
Yeah, her career is taking off. And I was like, wow, that movie was filmed here in North Carolina. And I've actually seen that little sign traveling down on Highway 74. I have stopped to take a picture next to that sign. The Color Purple was filmed here. One of the great movies of our time. Let's see. You've also worn the hat. Well, you talked about that. You talked about your position as a sound designer and how you got that. You're a part of Justice Theater, the Justice Theater Project.
Yes, I am their resident sound designer. But I've also done sound at Raleigh Little Theater, at Burning Coal Theater, at Interact Theater.
Okay.
Thinking I might be missing somebody. I might get in trouble. Pure Life Theater. I freelance, but I am the resident sound designer. Basically, what it means is if you are doing a play at Justice Theater Project, you can get whoever you want for lights, whoever you want for your stage manager, your ASMs or whatever, but you have to use me as your sound designer. That's not an option. So that's guaranteed funds right there. So so I do that. This is for all you people out there trying to do a little something extra to get some money if you got some talent and stuff. Sound designers in this area don't come a dime a dozen. And what they were doing was they were bussing sound designers in for theater plays. And that would mean that you would pay for their airfare, a place for them to stay, and put money in their pocket. Well, when I started doing it, one of the reasons why it became so lucrative for me is because I'm right here. And that was the other thing. After a sound designer does it and they go back to New York or go back to Arizona or different places, if something goes wrong, you got to call them and get in contact with them to get things fixed. I'm right here. You just got to, call me. And then the fact that I'm an actor also, 9 out of 10 times, if I'm in the play, I'm the sound designer. Wow. So
dual roles.
Yeah. So it's not difficult about saying we need to change the sound and such because I'm in the play. I'm right there at the rehearsal.
So do these places offer on-the-job training or no?
Yes, they do, but I didn't really get it, and I didn't ask for it. I got to know a few of the other local sound designers, which they all happen to be high schoolers. They know all the computer programs, and I picked their brains with some stuff. But they do offer shadow internships and stuff, but it's not really with pay.
Okay.
But yeah, you can definitely learn, and I'm willing to teach anybody that wants to learn.
That sounds good. Mm-hmm. That sounds good. Now, you've done over 50 plays, as we mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name just a few that you've been in right here in Raleigh?
Okay, you asked.
And then I think you've been abroad too, right? Overseas?
Yes, well? But I didn't go as an actor.
Okay.
I can tell you about that if I got time. These are local productions, so they're not what you see on Broadway or whatever. These are usually run about 3 or 4 weeks out of the year, and then the theater moves on to something else. I've done The Wiz. I've done Color Purple. I've done Porgy and Bess. I've done Oliver. I've done Ragtime. I was supposed to do Pearly. It hasn't happened yet. Those are the most popular ones I can think of.
Yeah. All right. So you said when you went across seas, you did not go as an actor. What did you go as?
One of the theater that I first did sound, the artistic director and I are great friends, and he does this thing called London Tours where people can pay to go to London. It's like a $4,000 to $5,000 trip. Mm-hmm. And they go over there and they see Broadway style plays in the West End section of London. And you're there for 7 days and you see a play every night for 6 nights straight. And he takes what he calls pod leaders. And so it's like maybe 30 to 50 people that pay to go. And then he has these pod leaders that, like, I'm in charge of 10 people. So instead of him having to look for those 10 people, he asked me, do I have my people with me? And I say yes. And for that, my travel, my hotel, and my entrance to the theaters was completely covered.
Wow. Exciting.
Business.
Exciting.
So that was completely covered. Right quick, because you still got somebody else up here to talk to, and I want to sit back and listen. But currently, I am an event coordinator. I don't know if you were going to ask about that.
I was.
Oh, okay. Well,
with North Carolina State University?
Yes,
sir.
Yep, with North Carolina State University. Maybe I should let you host your show, right?
Let me host my show, please. No, go ahead. Tell us about that.
So, I'm currently an event coordinator with North Carolina State University, and I think the reason why I definitely wanted to get that in because it actually helps with what I do in theater. Mm-hmm. Because at NC State, I'm in the background all the time. I'm the one that sets up, meets with the client, sets up the event, tell them what they can do and can't do, rules and regulations, mm-hmm. and then just help them make their whatever event they're trying to have a lot better. And then I go into theater, and I'm on stage, but also doing sound and doing some other stuff. So it kind of helps me to understand as an actor what everyone's job is mm-hmm. in theater, and that is not something that most people experience when they're in theater. They're either one or the other, and generally when you are one or the other, you have no patience with the other. Mm-hmm. But I have patience with all of it because I'm a part of all of it. And in fact, sometimes they have to tell me which hat I'm supposed to have on because the crew are supposed to do stuff, and then the actors are supposed to do stuff, and never the two shall meet.
And
but
you get caught in the middle,
right? Mm-hmm. And I'm caught in the middle, and they're like, "Well, no, you're an actor today. You don't need to do that." I'm like, "Whatever, man, go on." So I'm an event coordinator there, and I love that job too. So
awesome. Juan, what do you enjoy most about acting?
Becoming the character that I'm portraying. Mm-hmm. I don't know any other way to say this. Mm-hmm. I love playing somebody mean.
Yeah. Okay.
I love playing a mean character.
Why is that?
I don't know, because generally the mean characters or the smart mouth characters are the ones that get the good lines. Uh-huh. They always get the good lines. They can just break form and just lose it.
And you love to hate them.
Yeah, and they're hated.
I was gonna say that. Now, when you come off stage, people still hate you when you come off that stage. I don't know if you realize that or not.
There are
we
few,
can't separate reality from.
There was this one lady. I was in a play called The Container, and it was literally in a 40-foot container. Only 20 people could get in there.
Wow.
And it was about refugees that were coming from Middle Eastern countries trying to get to London. So they never did they never traveled by water. They traveled by a actual container, crate container. And I was the overseer, and I was
mean.
Oh, very mean. This one older woman, she's about 83, 84, older white woman. As when it was over, we were greeting people as they were coming out, and she came up and hit me on the side of the arm.
Oh no!
And she said, "I have seen you in several things, and I've never seen you play somebody like this. Don't you ever do it again." All I could say was, "Yes, ma'am." Oh, okay, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I played a mean person. You didn't like that. Okay, no, that won't happen. I won't do that again. So, yeah. So I get that. Or people won't come up, like when they're coming up to the actors. I'm just standing there. Nobody wants to speak to me.
That is funny.
So,
well, that means that you're doing a fine job on what you do, and you do it very well.
Thank you.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross. I am your host, P. Ross. We're on WRLY Raleigh Oak 93.5 FM. I have been talking to the very talented Juan Isler, and I'm now going to switch seats and talk to Mr. Syid Wright, a filmmaker here in North Carolina. Mr. Wright, thank you for coming in to Cat City today.
I was listening to my man here, and I understand what he go through when he would say a man of many hats, but we would definitely work together.
All right.
But I want to throw this out before we get started. I want to give a shout out to my hometown, Pensacola, New Jersey. I want to tell my mom I love her, my wife I love her, and all my family, that I love y'all because they support me 100%.
Awesome. And before I get started with you, I also want to do a shout out to the gentleman that brought us together. That is Mr. Jeff Ware, who currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Connecticut. Thank you, Jeff Ware. He's like a brother to me, and he's a mutual friend to Mr. Syid.
Jeff is my, how can I put this? He's my manager without a contract.
Right.
And he's my grammar coach. He's my writing coach because he would call me in a minute and say, "Take that down, send it to me."
Hey, I'm a house applause, Jeff, because he's my coach. Everything like just for you.
Yeah.
He's that for me as well. Yeah. And he's followed me for the last, I would say, 30 years now, as a friend, as a big brother. And hello, Jeff. I hope you're watching. If you are, call into the show 919-899-9305. All right. So I have again here with me Syid Wright, a local filmmaker here in North Carolina. He's an award-winning writer, producer, director, theater producer, and talk show host. Larry Syid Wright is also an author of the book 3 Shorts and a Play. Where did all of this begin for you, Mr. Wright?
Well, the first thing I ever did was I was my eighth grade in middle school. Mm-hmm. We produced our first play, me and a group of other students, and we had one of the and I'm not gonna say at that time, Freddie Washington was a gospel musician, very famous, and his son right now, Freddie Washington Jr., is doing some big things in the gospel community. And he came in and helped us, and we did this play. And then after a long hiatus of doing all the stuff kids do, I went to jail, and instead of becoming, a knucklehead, I would write. I got closer to Islam, but I was always into writing stuff. I always wanted to. I was just writing, and it kind of took off from there, and but. My real lesson came from when I moved to Greensboro in 1995, and I'm this 35-year-old man following this 19-year-old student around A&T University because he was a film student named Reggie Nurse.
Okay.
And he was like, I'm going to teach you the basics of how to become a filmmaker, because I always wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, you know, you get your camera, you get these lenses, and he said, whatever mistakes you make, you build off that. And that was like my formal training when I got into filming. And I write theater, but I'm not a big theater person, but I write theater, and and most of everything I do, even with my film and stuff I do now, I do more like period pieces and political stuff.
Okay.
You know, I got some hood stuff, you know, out there, but my thing is about creating, like you said, your show and stuff you do. My thing is about creating a conversation with people that will educate them on stuff that they're, I'm not gonna say ignorant to, that to educate them on stuff and do stuff to where they understand why we always have conversations about what is owed to us.
Okay. Now, I've seen pictures that you've taken with some of the A-listers or famous people on the silver screen and in the entertainment industry. I've seen you in photographs with Bill Duke, Margaret Avery, who was a part of The Color Purple that we talked about earlier, and Robert Townsend.
Yeah.
What kind of conversations did you have with these people?
Well, with Bill Duke, it was more or less about, you know, what he's been through, what he's went through to be put in the position he's in. And he told me, I never forget, he said, listen, everything look good ain't good. He said, we go through the same thing you go through every day, whether it's on the big screen or just doing local stuff. He said, because you black. He said, don't never forget that. You know, and Bill Cobb, I talked to Bill Cobb one time. Bill Cobb said, come here, man, let me holler at you. And me and Bill Cobb had a great conversation. He said, listen, if you was in the street, you get paid. He said, but this ain't the kind of community where you hustle like that. He said, you got to hustle. He said, but you got to hustle because you're dealing with different people. You feel what I'm saying? So he said, you got to, it's like being a boxer. You got to know, you got to pick your poison and pick your shots. And I really followed that. But the biggest lesson I ever had was I was at the Black Theater Festival in Miami. I think it was either 80 something, whatever it was the first 2000 something. It was the first year Miami won their NBA championship with LeBron and Wade. And the guy's name is, he was the owner of Code Black. I forgot his name right now. Code Black Entertainment. They do they're the black side of Lionsgate.
Okay.
So me and him, I caught him out there too. He said he did it. We went to a seminar, and he said we always looking to help people because people helped us. So that's all I had to hear. So I caught him coming through the hotel. We was at the Regency. I said, hey, can I holler at you? He was like, yeah, well, you know, I got some stuff. I said, listen, all I'm doing is just picking up on where you left off about hollering at people. So me and this guy talked for an hour. I wrapped him down so bad. And my word is born on the lie. He said, listen, this is what I need you to do. He said, because black people are hard-headed. He said, I'm going to hook you up with my girl at Lionsgate. He said, I want you to put together your synopsis. He said, I'm giving you everything you need to do in detail. He emailed it to me. I had the money. I had the money to get it done professionally, but you know how we do. We go to YouTube. And da-da-da-da-da-da. I sent it to her. She hit me back and said, listen, my man told me he was going to call me. She said, but this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. She said, now, did he or did you not give you the instructions on what to do? I said, yes. You know what I mean? And she said, but my door is always open to you if you get yourself together. And I'll never forget that. And so I learned, stop being cheap. When you're dealing with that type of people.
Yeah.
You know, but far as like the writing and all that kind of stuff, if it wasn't for Reggie Nurse, I probably wouldn't be a filmmaker like I am today. And like I said, like I was telling him, I was the first writer from the Triad area had that stuff read at the Black Theater Festival.
Oh, okay.
People don't even really, but
all right, well, we'll give you a house applause on that. Now, you have locally produced shows in which you were executive producer on the ABC television network, such as well, you've done that with ABC And then you've also done it with My 48.
My 48.
And CW Television,
CW Television,
Network.
yeah.
Okay, how did the opportunities come up for you?
Well, I tell you, man, it was a blessing because the guy that's not there now, and this is a funny story. I always try to, work my way in.
Mm-hmm.
So I got in touch with, got with the guy, old white guy, cool as heck. So me and him formed a relationship. So he said, "What you got?" So I got a film I'm doing. I forgot the name of the film. It was a 30-minute piece. He said, "Let me see it." So I takes it right there, let him see it. And his wife was the general manager of the station. So I'm sitting in his office, and he's called his wife. She said, "This guy sent you some material. What you think about it?" She said, "It's good for black people." That's what she said. She said, "But I don't like it." Now I'm sitting here listening to her, but I didn't know that was his wife.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So when she came in the office, I cussed her out. But I didn't know that was his wife.
Right.
So when she left, he said, "Well, that was my wife." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." He said, "No, she needed that."
Oh, wow.
So what he did was, the time we was at CW, he said, "Listen, if you got any kind of shows you want to do, give it to me. I'll put them on." So for like a month, I had talk shows. I had little short films I was getting on, stuff like that. But with ABC and My 48, I just sit down with them, say, "Hey, I'm an independent. I want to buy a slot." They gave me the slot. I got my money together, and boom, that's what happened.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Sounds good. Now, I would imagine, Syed, working as a filmmaker, you would work long and odd hours. How come that isn't like an easy 9 to 5? Why does it turn out to be so long when you're doing these hours like that?
Because it's like filming and editing and theater, and like he would tell you, it's one of them kind of jobs where you're never satisfied with what you're working on.
Okay.
Whether it's a 10-minute play or it's an hour movie, whatever it is. When you editing and you sitting down here and you working with your actors and actresses, you want to put out the best product that you can put out because they gave you the best that they could give you. Mm-hmm. So you have to return that love and reward them with a great film or a great play or great whatever. You just want to thank them with your work as a director and me as an editor as well, with a finished product that they are happy with and your audience are happy with.
Okay, and how do you put together a cast for your films?
Well, my friend is sitting over here tell you I don't audition.
Okay.
What I do is I go to shows and I see people and I sit there and have a conversation with them and I tell them what I'm looking for. I kind of like pick my cast.
Okay.
I pick my cast and because I'm just one of the type of person, I just know what I'm looking for.
Uh-huh.
So why should I put people through that journey if I already know what I'm looking for and I just go out and get the people?
Okay.
And I've been blessed by Allah, and I've been blessed that most of everybody that I have worked with in this industry, if I call them right now and they said, "Look, what's up? We ready."
Uh-huh.
But I want to say this, and I need to say this. I ain't gonna say her name, but she's one of the few people that I would apologize to, because in my own way, unprofessionally, I did her wrong.
Okay.
But I just want to tell her that I love you, and I'm asking you just to forgive me for how I did that, because I should have came to you first.
All right. I hope she's listening, and I want to give you a house applause for making a public apology. Very nice, Syed. Now, when you're choosing your set locations for your films, what do you do? How do you determine where you're going to shoot?
Well, it's like, it's kind of like once I vision what I want, mm-hmm. I just go out and just find my locations. Like Kareem will go with me, other people, like he's my production guy, Chris will go with me, and we just look at and make sure it's right for that mood we're trying to set when we go into production. And one thing I try to do, I don't have millions and millions of dollars, so we try to keep our sets like in a 1 mile radius, so if people do have to come in town, or if we do have to move from here to here, it's not like a big long trip we have to take. We just pack up and go to the next location.
Okay. All right. Now, film is one of those industries that attract creative and passionate people. communication skills have to be on point because you are working with a diverse group of people and have to be able to tell them what it is that you want. I imagine it's not an easy job sometimes. How do you handle dealing with that?
Well, I'm gonna handle this, but then I'm gonna come to my man for a second because I want to get his take on something. Can I do that?
Sure.
Okay, so this is the thing about film. If people come prepared, they're gonna make your job easier.
Uh-huh.
If they don't come prepared, your life can be a living hell. That's the best way I can put it. And that's why when I go out and when I write a script and then when I go out and seek talent, I seek talent that I know that's experienced and have a love for what they do, because that minimize my job that I don't want to say minimize, that takes some of the stress off of me of knowing that they're not going to be prepared. And like he can attest with theater, theater is like, if you don't have a quick mind on stage, you're not going to be a great theater person. With film, you don't want them cuts all the time, but sometimes you have to. But when theater come, if you don't have a quick mind to pick up where you left off or you forgot something, that's a whole new different ball game. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of stick with film, because I kind of say, we can cheat a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
That's accurate. Yep.
Okay. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Chat City with P. Ross. I'm your host, P. Ross, and we are coming from Oak 93.5 FM WRLY Raleigh. All right. Syed, how does your family and friends feel, those back home in New Jersey, and now to see you as a filmmaker? I mean, did they ever imagine your career would go this way? What are some of their responses?
After how can I put this? After seeing how I grew up and after seeing what I went through, because I dealt with a drug addiction, they knew I had that talent, because like I said, I always wrote. But they are extremely supportive. My wife is overly supportive, but her support came from a journey, because she didn't really understand me as being in this entertainment field. My wife, she's not like one of them kind of people. My wife will attend my events if they like big events, but if it's like small stuff, she won't come. Okay. And that's not a knock on her. She just like, because she's seen me edit for 12, 13 hours a day for 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. My last film, I logged in like over 1,100 hours of editing. Mm. But and like my family, man, they support me. They support me. And my best friend Bernard Smith, he definitely support me. And and my man Richard, they support me. But everybody support me. I don't work with some good people. But when it comes down to that, and you need that family support. Mm-hmm. You need that family support. And like I said, my family are like my biggest fans.
Okay, you've done a little bit in acting as well. Is that correct?
Nah,
you have not. Okay.
I'll do a puffy. I'll show my face and then get up out of there. But nah, I'm more behind the camera, and just keep people motivated and keeping their life full and happy.
Okay, tell us a little bit about Paper to Film. What is that about?
Paper to Film. That's me and Tiffany McKeever, which is my business partner. We created this program back in 2013 called and what the program does is teach young men and women how to become media people, journalists, filmmakers, theater, anything got to do with being creative. That's what we do. And what makes our program successful is that we allow these kids to come in and tell their story any way they want. All we do is teach them is how to tell it in a way that where we as parents and administrators can understand their conversation, because we as parents and administrators, we are hard-headed people when we come to our kids. Mm-hmm. But what we do at Paper to Film, we put them in a position to sit us down and say, this is our story. Okay. And in a way that gets across to us.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I want to give you a house of applause for working with young people. I always like to see people taking time out for younger folks and helping them to become better citizens. Pitch Vine Entertainment LLC is a film production company located in Greensboro, North Carolina, owned and operated by Syid Wright. How did you come to make this be, Syed?
Well, a group of us got together one time, and we was trying to start a film production company, a production company. But over the years, we all just kind of, went our separate way. We still all cool though. So I just kept the name, and I just kept it moving, and I just liked Pitch Vine, and so and that's how it came about. A group of us got together, came up with it, but I just kept it going, and we keeping it going, and until I can't do it no more.
Okay, and what is the meaning behind Pitch Vine?
I don't know. I just like the name.
Okay, all right.
I mean, like, it's a pitch and a vine. Pitching the baseball. I tell people pitching the baseball and the vine. I just like the way it sounded.
Okay.
So that's what I went with.
Sounds good to me. I like it. All right. So, Syed, you've got a project in which you chose to tackle on America's long-standing battle with reparations. For black people in America, which is compensation for abuse and the enslavement of black Americans. What made you tackle on this project? Or tackle this subject, I should say.
Every time we watch films about black oppression and suppression, we never win.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they make a movie about Martin Luther King, he either get killed, but if he don't get killed, there's not a happy ending. Make a film about Malcolm, he get killed. Make a film about Nat Turner, he gets killed. You know what I mean? Mississippi burning. But they have yet to see a film where is we as black people are sitting in a courtroom challenging America about the oppression and suppression they done put us through for all these years. So with me and my partner Glenn Jones, who's a retired attorney, sat down with me. We said we're going to create a story that gives us a chance to question and challenge this America system that is supposed to be righteous. And I tell people this all the time. Other than the Indians, which they stripped of their nationality, there are only two naturalized citizens in this country, and people can argue all day. It's white people and black people. So if we're naturalized citizens like white people, why aren't we getting the same compensation that they get? Why are we still looked at as second-class citizens? And that's what our whole argument is about in this film. And so we sat, and my friend who helped me write the script, he worked in law for 30-something years. So I said, dude, why ain't you ever, sit down with this when I was saying this earlier? He said, because I work for the government. He said, with me being retired now, I can do what I want. Do
what you want, right?
So that's why we tackled this issue. But that's our whole argument. And I'm trying to get this across to anybody in any area, whether you black, white, Spanish, whatever, it don't matter to me. Our voice cannot be heard every time we look like the oppressed, suppressed, or depressed black person when we make a film. And if we do make a film that represents us, it has to be somebody white on that the part of that team. But this team here is 3 African American. One of them is a Muslim. One of them is a hard-nosed, straight-up black sister. And the other guy he's laid back, cool, but he knows his history. So we have to get out of that stereotype of we sitting in the courtroom looking like we lost. And this film, this conversation was put together to not only change the narrative on how we're being represented, it's educating people on stuff that we don't even know about. A lot of people don't know black people did get their 40 acres and a mule.
Okay, now I will tell you this. When I looked at the film, let me go back. It took me like a couple of days to watch it. That's because I'm just that busy. So I had to kind of start back and like rewind and go back and try to find where I left off, that type of thing. Now, don't get mad when I say this, but I saw myself on the opposing team in the character of the black guy that was on the attorney side. But after watching this and going back and looking at the 13th and the 14th Amendments, which this is centered around, I'm like, okay. And I really didn't pay attention to reparations for black folks and I am black, in case you don't know. I really didn't pay attention to that. I kind of identified with that character until I saw Dr. Claude Anderson. Do you know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I started paying a little bit more attention to him. And for those of you that don't know who he is, he was a long-standing governmental person in Washington. He's written a book called Powernomics. And, he's a great representative of the African-American race, I would say. But I saw myself in the light of that one character. And then I kind of rethought that, because I was like, just like in the film, it was like, would reparations really happen? How can it happen? But then after I thought about it, I said, well, it could. If it was a winning situation, it could
let
happen.
me explain. Let me educate you on something.
Okay.
We did that film for one reason and one reason only. And when I wrote that black character on the opposite side, see, this is where we get reparations messed up. The Jews ain't talk about they had the American dream. They got a check. The Japanese when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, them 800 something thousand whatever Japanese they put in the concentration camp to save them or whatever, they got a check. Now you got this black man sitting there talking about he living the American dream, but he ain't getting no check. So that was the bottom line of the whole story, because once people watch the film, out of all the stuff that these people said America did, they never ever once said they gave black people a check. But everybody else was in that conversation doing that film got a check. So when black people tell me, and this film represents all that, so when black people tell me, and them people that say we need to pull ourselves up by the bootstrap, this is what I tell them. If you make me work for you for all these years, and you're still telling me today that things are better for us, you speaking to the wind. Now, it's better for us as far as not dealing with slavery, but we still dealing with slavery in our own way. You know what I mean? We still got the highest jail rate. We still got all these things that the system put in place. And so I don't want nobody to come and tell me that we're going to put money in urban renewal, we're going to put money into all this stuff and supposed to give me a check, because the government give us money for that anyway. And don't sit here and tell me that, well, black people can't handle the money. Listen, if I give you $100,000 and you waste that $100,000, that's your money to waste.
Right.
Especially if you owed it to me.
Right.
Tell me something. How long did it take you to do the project? And did we even mention the name or the title of the film? We have not, have we? American.
See, now you have me going into my black rant.
Oh, okay.
Get the black mind right. So it took us 3 years to get this film project done because of COVID.
Okay.
And my partner, when I first sent in the script, it was actually a monologue of 10 pages. So my partner said, he's an attorney. He deals with human rights and civil rights and all this. He said, listen, let's focus on creating a story and let's rewrite the script. So we had like 30 rewrites, 50 arguments, everything. We were like, dude, I said, look, man, I don't even want to talk to you no more. So it took us 3 years to do this project, get the script wrote, get everything solid. And like I said, I already had the actors picked out, except for 2 actors I had to replace. But the 2 main guys in the film said, look, I got the people that'll fill these roles. And they did it.
It was a great piece. I want to give you a house applause on that. It was really good. Like I said, and your cast was great. Everybody was good.
And can I say this right quick?
Sure.
When I'm 64 years old, and I tell people this all the time. I've been poor, I've been on drugs, close to homeless, and I got on my feet. Allah ordained me to do His work, and the work that I'm doing is the work of Allah. It don't mean I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. It don't mean I'm a anything. I just been ordained to do His work, and He ordained me to do His work through film and to educate people and black people. And then I got to say this: I don't believe in people. I don't think black Americans are people of color. We are black Americans, like white Americans are white Americans.
Okay.
And when people ask me why I say that, I say because no matter how you look at it, the people of color in the white community are treated so much differently than the black American community. So we are on this island by ourselves. And that's why we need to stick with each other, support each other, and love each other.
Okay, and tell us real quickly, Syed, who are some of your American heroes?
My American heroes is my mom, my oldest brother, and my 2 sisters.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this because, like I just said, I've been through everything. And my mom, she was a single parent, raising 9 kids by herself, and then I don't say that just to say, hey, she was a single mom. She did what she did. She had babies, but it didn't keep her from being a mom. And my brother, you know what I mean, he had to sacrifice a lot to take care of 7 and 8 younger brothers and sisters. And my sisters, to this day, are my idols because even through childbirth and all of those stuff they went through, they never ever stopped being my sisters.
That's awesome. And we're going to give a house applause to your family for being there for you and by your side. And that's great to label them as your great American heroes. That's wonderful. Juan, what projects do you have coming up next?
I am doing, I'm going to be doing a play in November and December. I'll be a part of Christmas Motown with Pure Life Theater.
Oh, wow.
I'll be doing that. I'm going to be one of the 4 tops.
Awesome. Awesome.
Levi Stubbs.
Maybe. I'm not sure yet. Then Pearlie will be done in the spring. And a play called Cherry Orchard. I'll be one of the stars of that I know of. There is a production in Greensboro that I'm doing, but I can't remember the name of it now.
That's okay.
I will let you know.
Okay.
Free ticket?
I ain't even gonna say nothing. After all that you just said and talked about. First thing he gonna say, Kareem. First thing he gonna say, free ticket. Right, your cousins, your cousins.
Some of us here, we still keeping us low.
That is so funny.
But yeah, currently I'm in a production called All the Way, and that's at Justice Theater Project, and so that's what I'm doing.
Okay, and if one wants to follow you on social media, can we do that?
Yes, Juan Isler on Facebook, Juan Isler on Instagram. Juan Isler on Twitter.
Juan Isler.
Juan Isler.
That's what you're going to get. You can look for me. And, and I'm up there. And anyone that wants to follow can do that.
Sounds good. All right. And Mr. Wright.
Okay, I'm going to go through this real quick. We're getting ready to start a production called The Press. And that's about this young black journalist. He unknowingly inherits the last black-owned newspaper in the country.
Okay.
And then I got some plays I'm working on. We getting ready. I was just telling Mr. Isner, I'm gonna try to get him to come on board with me. We getting ready to do a production called Prince of Hisville, which is a story I wrote about Marvin Gaye based on the album What's Going On. Then I got it's called The Abolition. It's called Debbie the Abolitionist, and it's about 3 black women educating their husbands who are civil rights workers.
All sound interesting. And if one wanted to contact you, how can we do so, sir?
Pitchvine@yahoo.com. You can see me, Larry Syed, on Facebook. But if you just type in Pitchvine Entertainment, I will be up.
All right. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure having you in the studio with me today. All great information, great stories. I want to welcome you back to the show later on, sometime when you have a free schedule to do so, okay?
I thought you were going to be in my next film.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that after the show. All right?
Oh, all right now.
All right. Thank you for tuning into another show, Chat City with P. Ross. Join us each Thursday here at Oak 93.5 FM at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We are now signing off. Have a great rest of the week.
Community Radio, WRLYLP.